Recording.
Is
We're
it
back.
recording now?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So when Callie gets back on, we can just tell her we'll keep going and I'll put it up there and send her the link so that she can forward it.
There you go.
That
That
way,
works.
yeah.
Perfect.
Can you guys hear me now, or am I still bad?
It's way better.
Way better.
All
Thanks.
right. I apologize. I don't know
No,
what
you're
that
good.
was.
It likes to be ornery.
Yes.
Oh. Um, yeah, what do we want to do here?
So, well, we can go through the analysis of the ideas.
Yeah.
Go through each idea to talk about the pros and the cons of which employees will be happy or unhappy. And now I want to make sure we're supposed to act like our character, right?
Yes.
I think
Okay.
so.
Hey, Callie, I I am recording for us, and
Thank
then
you.
I'll send it to you so that you can send it in. Does that work?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You'll have the first part, so you'll probably have two links for her. So you'll have the one that you did and then the one that I'm going to send to you once it's all done.
Okay. Thank you.
Computers, you love them until they don't work, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick question for you guys. It's not related, really quick. Um, Susan, did you turn in, or did you get a chance to turn in the discussion from last week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I kind of figured you did. Mine currently has a 0 in the grade book for last week. So I'll reach out to her. I was just curious, did you
So
guys get
mine
that?
has zeros for everybody else's except the ones I handed in.
Oh, it's
Mine
zeros
has
now? Okay.
excused.
Yeah.
Mine
Yeah, mine has excused normally too, but it says
Right.
0 for last week's.
All
says
of the other ones that I had for everybody else says zero excused.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's just being weird. Okay. And I won't worry about I don't think it's impacting my grade. It just says 0 and missing, which it doesn't normally say
Your grade
missing.
goes down after Saturday night, and then when she fixes it on Monday morning, your grade goes back up.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Goofy. Okay. And I'm worrying about nothing. Cool. Be Gucci.
So we were going on to the next step,
Okay.
the analysis.
Okay.
And I wanted to make sure, Callie, we're supposed to be like our character, correct?
I think so.
Okay. So the what was the first one, Geraldine? Measurable team improvement.
yeah, so I have 5 that we
Okay.
can do. Team-based gain sharing plan. Teams, this is how it will work. Teams would share bonuses when they hit measurable goals. So we
Yeah, but
just
what
want
about
to,
my team? My team's been doing so well. They've been doing so good so far. I'm really trying to get into the character.
I love it.
So are you going to
And
give me back pay for that? Because our team is the ones that's been helping all the other teams work. I really didn't like your snarky attitude, but
well, how about this? You're right, Ruth. Exactly why this change matters. Um, the company talked about teamwork, but still pays based on position. Our plan puts money where the effort is. When your team improves quality or saves costs, that 10% incentive makes sure you see it in your pay.
yeah, but
It's
what if
all about numbers.
it's all about numbers, but it's also all about what if you have one person on the team who ruins it for everybody and doesn't do their job?
Good,
I
good.
mean, I'm just trying to be it says we're supposed to talk about pros and cons. So I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
I mean, that could be a big thing if you've got a great team except one person.
yes.
I'm sorry, not to totally just like jump in.
No, go
What
for it.
question are you guys talking about? I'm a little lost. I get where you I guess I'm lost. I'm sorry.
Well, we're talking about this one idea that we came up with, and we're playing our characters to talk about the pros and cons of that one
Oh,
idea.
Are you talking about what, like the ideas we talked about in different ideas for a better pay plan?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, could you say that again? I'm totally. What was the plan you guys were talking about?
Um, the, the team,
We brainstormed, we all brainstormed with Geraldine came up with 5, right?
yeah,
5 ideas. Now we're going to discuss those as our characters.
Yes. So which one were we talking about?
the team-based sharing plan.
Okay.
So making the most of that 25%.
Which one? Team base. Okay. I think I'm sorry, I'm apparently a little slow on the uptake here. So
So
is that one that you came up with, or is that one that's from what we read and I
It's one we came up with.
okay, so I'm just
You're not crazy.
okay.
We're just throwing ideas out there and then talking about them, right, Callie?
what's your character, Alec?
I'm the science guy who, and so I guess basically if we're talking about teams, I'll see if I get this right. If we're talking about teams. All my other scientists are idiots. They just want to teach each other about how chemistry works, but we all are already chemists, so we get how it works. So I don't want to work with a team where we already don't work well as a team. So that's I'm not going to get paid as much if I have to work with a team that doesn't already effectively work together. So I'd much rather stick with either personal incentives or a different way that doesn't incorporate us all having to fit together. But then the other thing too is we're chemists. We're smarter than everybody else in the company. I don't. We should get paid the most because we have to figure out all the information and all this stuff and all the how everything works while everybody else just has to put it together. So I mean, if we're gonna go along that line, I think our team should automatically start higher than everyone. And yeah, I think that's what I don't think he'd say it quite like that, but that's
No, I think that's how I felt him coming across.
Are you Sid?
yes.
Sid the science? Okay. I had this one written down. Sid, I completely understand your concern, but innovation doesn't happen in isolation anymore. I like that saying.
That's I got no response to that.
So our best breakthroughs come when research, production, and packaging all work together.
And to think, we have a scientist in our group and he's been doing a great job. He says that his job, Tim, the scientist, he works in our group now. His job is better because he knows how we build the products and he has a stake in it. So he's a scientist, but he likes working with us. I don't know what your problem is, Sid.
Yeah, I never liked Tim, let's be honest. But
But Sid, scientists can still earn raises and promotions for their personal contributions, but this just adds a shared reward for shared success.
Well said.
yeah, I got no rebuttal to that. I mean, the one thing I could maybe think of is that's all fine and good, and I do agree that innovation is typically it often is the group coming together and coming up with something or working that stuff out, especially with producing new products or whatever it might be. But let's say I come up with something, I'm researching, come up with a really big new idea, and I've had minimal input from other team members because they're working on other research and develop projects that they've either been asked to focus on or have already been focusing on. And what if I have a breakthrough myself that is super beneficial to the company? And I think it'd be great if that positively impacts the team as a whole. But I feel like I should be at least do a little bit of what I've done. Like maybe I
You did
should
all
get
the work.
yeah, I did the work. I found it. I had the brain blast per se. And so like I don't feel like maybe the whole team should benefit, sure, but I mean I'd like to receive what I earned. I put in the effort. And so I still I don't love the team idea, I guess. in that perspective too.
Well, it's not 100% of your pay that would be divided up. I would suggest even like 15% would be the shared portion.
Not make it so dramatic and be 25, but make it down to 15.
Yeah, I would take it down to 15. And
And then, sorry, go ahead.
just if it works, gradually increase it. But yeah, I would start out at 15 rather than 25.
I think that makes sense, especially if we're really going to push this team idea. But is there still space in the last 85% for individual incentives too? Or would we need to make a section of another percentage of that, another 5-10% that's based on individual production?
Well, what if we did 10% shared team and the 5% individual? So it's still 15%, but 5% would be individual and 10 team based.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I do think,
It's better than the 25.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a little strong to start out with. I think we could eventually get there once everyone's on board and it works, but
So what's one of the next ones?
um,
The continued learning?
it was the skill and knowledge based pay. How it would work is employees would earn pay increases or bonuses for gaining new valuable skills or certificates.
So in my department at work, we get if we get more certifications, extra letters behind our name, we get an additional $500 per certification.
Wow.
$500 a year. I mean, that's only like not a lot each day. $19 a pay, but after taxes, it's like 10.
Seriously.
But that's something that we do, but I could see it being a benefit and I could see it being harmful to the employees. Because you get somebody who just wants to come to work. They just want to work. They're not looking to do more, you know?
They don't have the time or the energy.
Yeah.
True.
What do you do with that? I mean, you're trying to incentivize everybody and give them extra money and stuff, but what happens if they just want to do their job and go home? Does that mean that they're a bad employee? Not necessarily.
I mean, I do agree with that, but also isn't that kind of their prerogative if they don't want to? I mean, I guess it feels to me like it's kind of fair. It's like if they do just want to come in, work and do a good job and go home and not get more certifications or more licenses or whatever it might be, like that's all fine and great. It's basically they're not missing out on anything that it's available to them, but an individual would be like, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't want to, because another part of it too is the more certificates you may have, the more responsibilities you could have. Like for when this is technically out of character, working at BYU Idaho, I think I've kind of talked about this before. We're supposed to have trainings and get certified to drive utility vehicles on BYU Idaho campus. And there was one point where we said, if you, my opinion was, if you don't get that, you don't work, because everybody should be available to drive those if we need them. But another opinion of that at one time was, if you don't get that, then you just don't get assigned to the jobs who need those, and you might have lesser responsibilities, but you might also get a few less hours of work, but you're also entitled to still work and do the jobs that don't need the utility vehicle because you don't have the certificate. And so, and there were some people who were okay with that, like, yeah, I'll take the smaller jobs and I'll take a few less hours per week, so I don't have to get that, so I don't have to have that extra responsibility. And so, I do think having those incentives for the certificates or expanding, getting more knowledge and skills I don't know, in my opinion, it's relatively fair because those options are there for people, but people are saying, no, I don't really want to get those. Now, I do think it's a different story. If they can't get those, let's say somebody has a disability, and they can't get a specific one, like if they are in a wheelchair and they can't drive, that's a different story. And you need to get a utility vehicle training or something, then yes, that could be an issue. But optional trainings and licenses or certificates that are available to everyone, I don't know. I feel that feels relatively fair to me.
Yeah. What I like about it is that it encourages the growth mindset culture that we talked about before.
Yep.
Hey, are you ready for number 3?
Yep.
Company-wide profit sharing. How it works is this: a set percentage of company profits is distributed equally or proportionally to all employees. Pros and cons.
You got the people who just come into work, and then you have the people who really try and do a lot. You're giving them the same thing. Where's the
Yeah.
incentive in that?
It
It's just
encourages teamwork.
job.
Yeah.
I agree with that one, Susan. I think it incentivizes you to, if you're going to get the reward anyways, because the company does well, like, why would I,
Why work harder?
why
Yeah.
would I push it a little bit? I do think another issue too would be like if there's, um, what am I going, like stocks fall or you start like, um, my goodness, stuff starts to go into recession or the company starts to struggle and fail, then there's those that profit sharing doesn't happen. If there's no profits, there's no sharing. And so I think that can be, obviously it's also on the people to put out a better product, but sometimes you can't control those things. Like when COVID happened, a bunch of issues in work happened to a ton of people. And that was totally out of their control.
Yeah.
Government enforced shutdowns,
Mhm.
government enforced quarantines and stuff. And so that sometimes those could be potentially harmful to people's pay and stuff if there's things that are out of their control.
Right. Um, did one of you say the recognition by the CEO for accomplished goals?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Pros and cons are there.
I think one of the pros is that the president, CEO, is actually taking the time to do it.
Yeah.
Just not just your supervisor or somebody that's in one department out of the whole, 50 departments or whatever, but the CEO is taking the time to notice you.
And we've learned how much appreciation means to people in the workforce.
So sometimes people aren't necessarily always motivated by money or reward system that way. Recognition can be an effective way to incentivize people. Um, so yeah, I think that one's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a good one. Can't really see any cons to that.
I do think one, if a con could be, let's say someone is very consistently outperforming other people, it could come across as favoritism if they keep getting pointed out by leadership. Um, and that could be a hurt to morale. People could get upset or be like, I swear I'm doing just as much work as they are, but they're actually not behind the scenes. And so that could be, it's a more public one that, and when things are more public, they can be a little more controversial, possibly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Alec, you brought up two different ones, competition or evaluations. Which one of those do you want to, or we could do both, I guess.
I mean, competition I'm a big fan of, but I do think a con to that is like kind of like I said, people in different teams doing different things. It's hard to compare and be competitive. And then in a competitive atmosphere, things hypothetically could get stressful or heated between teams. That could be a downside. Um,
Then the same team.
yeah, within the same team, you could have.
Yeah.
I see. You would really have to rely on the team aspect versus an individual aspect if you're going to use that. I think it's kind of I've said it before, high ceiling, low floor. Like I do think the potential of a competitive environment can be really good, but also, yeah, you could have people hitting heads and stuff like that where maybe it's not a great idea, or maybe people just competition doesn't resonate with everybody all the time. Not everybody wants to consider themselves to be a winner in a company setting. Um, they're comfortable doing their job, being successful, working hard, and not needing that outside incentivization incentive. Yeah.
It seems like it would take a lot of like oversight to keep the competition going.
I think it would.
But we know how important evaluations are.
Yeah.
I like that one. How would we incorporate that one?
I think just making sure that the supervisor or the manager is keeping up on everybody's progress, because sometimes people can slip through the cracks and the managers just get so busy in their day-to-day stuff that they are like, yep, the job's getting done, so that's all that matters. But you may have an employee who's really feeling like they aren't getting the necessary training, or they really feel like they could be accomplishing more if they had more support. And you wouldn't know that unless you kept up with regular evaluations. Just a thought.
I think evaluations help push away from a strictly we're hitting numbers or we're beating our numbers standpoint. Um, it's a good opportunity. Well, I think there's two big things to cover. It's a good way to meet face to face with management or leadership above you, and you can create those relationships and you can learn from them, or the communication can happen back and forth. But then you can really get down to, okay, maybe this person isn't producing incredible numbers or like incredible numbers of products, but maybe they have some of the best communication between everybody else in their team or something. And that's something that can really stand out. I think that comes with evaluation. I feel like evaluation can really hit a whole part of an individual and individual's production versus looking at the numbers. Yep, all right, this person hit 100 sales, this person hit 105 sales. Sweet, that's awesome. I think that's a great help when you do evaluations.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are all the options that were discussed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, well, now that there's been a discussion with all the options, let's see if we can, as a team, agree on one approach to recommend to Sam Verde. What plan seems most fair and effective overall?
I think the evaluation and the certifications. I'm not sure pay is going to do what you want it to do in the end.
I could agree with that. Let's say I'm a big fan of the evaluations. I like doing the certifications too. I do think I just saw this one. People in different areas may not be entitled to certain types of certifications and stuff. So could come across as unfair, but also there's certifications and everything at this point. I think a good one is, it needs to be, it doesn't need to be a big glamorous thing, but being incentivized by, um, oh, what's the word? Susan, you talked about it. The one where we're like they the CEO points you out. I don't know.
Recognition.
Yeah, thank you. Recognition. I think that one's a decent one as long as it's kept in a healthy way and it's not crazy. It's not, oh, this guy gets a trophy every time they do something good, but minor recognition and uh, I think that's a decent one as well because yeah, not everybody's incentivized by making more money and stuff like that. Sometimes that's not it.
And the one question you had, the next one, kind of goes into picking one of the three, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you guys, did we talk about the 15%?
Oh,
Oh, no,
I
we
like
didn't.
that. If we keep it with the team thing, I did like that.
Here's what I have to say about
Yeah.
that. As CFO. So nobody wants to feel like their paycheck is on the line. That's not what this plan is about. I'm just suggesting a balanced approach of 85% guaranteed pay and 15% tied to performance. The guaranteed part gives everyone security. The 15% is a chance to earn more when we hit our goals. 10% based on team results and 5% on company, well, I would say individual performance. Yeah,
I do like that. I think it's kind of an in-between number where it's like small enough that it doesn't feel like if there's a significant decrease in team production, that it doesn't feel like it's going to hurt you that bad. But I do think it's big enough that if you do good enough, it could be a pretty significant boost to pay potentially. So
well, I
I,
think
I like.
it's company morale too. If
Mhm.
if it were, if everyone worked together and got a good bonus.
Well, as Ruth, I think that it kind of takes away from, the groups doing a good job because then again, if you're giving it to a bigger group based on you've got three production groups and one is carrying the load for everybody, all three groups are going to get it. That doesn't seem much of like an incentive to me. I'm being
Wait, sorry.
I'm being
Yeah,
rude there.
could, could you explain that again? Sorry.
So let's just say that um, they base the incentive off of the production line. If the
Mhm.
production line does so many percent more than the month before or the quarter before or whatever, then they're going to get their extra 15% in pay or 10% in pay, right? But what if there's three production groups? You got three shifts. And second shift is the one who's doing all the work and getting the stuff done and moving things through faster than the other two shifts. But you're going to give it to all of production because it's production incentive. How's that fair?
Well, wouldn't the incentive be based on like where your team would be located? For research and development, our incentives would our 15% and our 10% of that 15% would be based on what we produce in our research and development versus you in production. Your 10% and your 15% would be based on what is produced.
Right. But
Wouldn't
what if
that
we
be?
had three production groups and only one's really doing the job and making the difference? The other two are just
Right.
getting the job done. Do you see what I'm saying?
Is it? I do see what you're saying. Is that not? I mean, I guess.
If they're going to base the incentive off of the production group, even though there's three production groups, everybody in that production group is going to get whatever percentage it is. How's that fair?
I guess it depends on how big our teams would be. If it's strictly off of category in the company, then that could be a little unfair. It could also be good because then groups 1 and 3 get boosted because groups 2 production is good. But I don't know, do we want our teams, do we want each group to have smaller teams, or do we want each group to be its own team? Be Because I get what you're saying, but if we do we make production with its 3 groups just one big group for the pay standard, or do we have to have 3 individual groups
I
that
think it
we?
have to be a lot of explanation and deep dives into specifics for a lot of stuff because
Yeah, I do think because
it's kind of generic at this point. I feel like, again, I'm being Ruth.
yeah.
You're doing good.
Do they? I feel like I read this. Is the plan to introduce this in a very short-term timeline?
Yeah, he wants to do it in a month.
I think if we're gonna, I think to be effective, just an overall idea is that this probably needs to be at a minimum like a 6-month process. Because just using your point in line with the production thing, it's like we need to figure out if it's more effective to evaluate production as a whole or into the 3 groups. And so I do think, and I think we probably could all agree on this, that a 1 month introduction is probably not a great idea. Probably, like I said, at a minimum 6 months, maybe longer, so we can really get down to the nitty gritty and the details of some of these things.
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot because then that can also help us adapt over time as we introduce this process too.
Yeah. So Ruth, do you believe that everyone in the company shares responsibility for the success or failure of the company?
Yes.
Because right now it seems like the top management is taking all the risk.
Well, it feels like different groups are taking the risk right now. Because if there's something that's new that's come out, R&D has this great, wonderful idea, and then they expect production to be able to get it done and do it, even though they don't understand production.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
get it done. No, just
well, all right. No, but that's I mean, I don't feel like that is spelled out. I feel like the upper management expect everybody to just get it done and everybody to improve, but it doesn't. You can't improve in R&D and production all at the same time because it takes an improvement here to build into another group to work on theirs and make improvements. And then, I mean, it's or you've got shipping and receiving is making all kinds of improvements, and production isn't, and neither is R&D, but they've made improvements. So overall, everybody's made improvements, but they haven't. So where's the equality? I mean, I see where they want to do an incentive, but how does that incentivize everybody?
I have a question kind of in line with that. If we're thinking about really sticking to this team-based idea, which I think is a decent enough idea, even if some scientists I don't think should be scientists or whatever, but I'm not going to name names, Bill, but anyways, what if we thought about like we're talking about rolling out a plan, like we said, over a certain amount of time, over let's go with the 6 months, and how we're trying to split this in. We're trying to figure out how can we do pay incentives or whatever incentives based on the company as a whole. What if we were to just split? We already kind of have a split, and we introduced a plan that's generally the same, but we introduced it group by group. Like for the first 2 months, we figure out how we're going to do productions, and then the next 2 months we figure out how we're going to do shipping and handling. The next 2 months we figure out how we're going to do research and development. The next 2 months we figure out I don't know any other ones at this point. Training, HR, training, hiring, recruiting, and figuring this stuff out. would that be a feasible plan, or is that too much? Because I feel like if at this point it seems like we all have different aspects of a plan that I don't know. Maybe our sections are too different from each other section that even though they work well together, the incentives and the plan, the compensation plan should be different per group.
I think it should all roll out at the same time though, because if you don't, you're gonna start having angrier people
They'll talk.
who may
Yeah.
not. But I agree with you, Alec. I feel like, or I'm sorry, you're
I'm Sid.
Sid. Okay.
I
Sid.
prefer Dr. Noble, but it's fine.
I feel like people will I think people will be upset with the fact that it's incentivized across the company no matter what you do. And it's going to be I feel like there will be teams, like my team's done so much, nobody else is doing anything really to make differences. I feel like that kind of an attitude will be there because they don't understand it. They don't understand the incentives. So you got to really narrow down and make sure you have everything covered in the different groups before you roll it out.
Right. Has to be really spelled out, the policies.
Yeah.
I thought of something else. It seems like, I think it was you, is it Ruth?
Yeah.
You were saying like it's not fair because some people will work harder than others. I was just thinking about that. But what kind of people do we want in our company? You know, maybe this kind of helps weed out those that aren't really committed. Maybe that's okay. What do you think of that?
I like that Joe Gringo sits here and works and Becky Batista, she sits here and works her butt off. She doesn't want to do anything but come in and work the line. Get her job done every day. They are valuable people because they do their job. They may not want to get certifications and they may not want to do any more than their little job because they know their job and they're really good at it. And if we get rid of them, I think we're losing talent.
Well, why would we get rid of them?
Because if they're not willing to like change and work harder, I mean they're good loyal employees, but I felt like what I was getting was that if people aren't doing their jobs, they don't need to be there. But what if they are doing their jobs? They just aren't motivated to learn and grow. I mean, I can't judge somebody because they just want to come in and do their job every day.
Right.
Me,
Yeah.
I like to do as much as I can and learn new things, but that's just me. Not everybody's like that. So
I think the best talent will thrive when their work matters.
mhm.
I don't think there'd be any reason to let them go if they're working hard.
It would just be if they're really not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's why I still go for the profit sharing. I'm just playing my part.
Yeah. Of course, the CFO wants profit sharing.
Yeah. I think this company's strength is in how things work together too. So I think if we roll it out at the same time, like you were saying, to every group, every department, that'd be the best.
And you got to have buy-in. People have to understand what's happening, not feel like they're getting their pay cut.
I think we need to make sure that people understand that just like you said, Susan, basically, or Ruth, sorry, that we need to help everybody, all employees understand that the numbers might look different and it might look like there's potentially a drop off or something, but it really is if you're continuing to do your job and maybe if you're pushing a little more because we want people to grow and we want the company to be successful, so we want to have successful people working for the company. If we help them understand that, sure, we're changing how pay is happening, but even if you're doing the same job now, you're not going to lose money. It's the education standpoint. If we help push that out probably at the beginning of the process and throughout the whole process before we really roll it out and just help them understand that we are a company. Yes, we want to make money. We want a profit, but part of making a profit is making sure your employees are successful and they make money too, or else obviously you can't have employees. Our company is successful when our employees are successful. The numbers may change how they look, but you're not losing money based on a new change or otherwise. If we can really push the education standpoint, I think people will be a lot more willing to roll with it.
Yeah, what I hear you saying too is,
Mhm.
Sid, is that nobody is gonna like get a pay cut. We're not taking anything away, but we are connecting their paycheck to teamwork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, we should probably move on to the next step since we're getting close on time. Um, so step 6. So we've closed the meeting, tell everyone to relax. We're now out of our top chem roles and we've returned to our own identities. Um, and then as a group, we'll explain what we think is the best approach to compensation at Top Chem.
I personally do not think a pay incentive will work.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it where it's been tried before and it's just failed. I feel like there's other incentives like the evaluation and the certifications and the positive
Yeah.
things you can do for the employees to help them to realize how important they are and how much they matter in the whole grand
Mm-hmm.
things. So that's just my thought.
So with that in mind, just and maybe I missed the second part. How do you incentivize like employees and
Well, if you work to make sure that the employees realize how valued they are and make sure they are thought about, seen by the CEO, and everybody in the higher ups and recognized for what they do, that you can have the teams. You can have the Ruth's teams who really work together well, even with one of the scientists who's, he's gone to the dark side. Sorry.
I'm still listening. Sorry, I just
Okay, no, you're good.
yeah, keep going.
But I feel like if you can get those people to really buy into knowing how important they are, they're going to come up with things. They're going to think of things of how best to accomplish goals. And if somebody else comes up with an idea, they will feel more inclined to jump on board and see what they can do to help make it work. I mean, that pay doesn't always incentivize people.
Right.
Recognition and what did you say, Geraldine? Them making them realize how important they are, how they feel.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Valued, appreciated. And I
Yeah.
think the other class we learned about motivation too, and how like one company will give their employees so much time a week just to try and innovate,
Yeah.
be creative on how to make the company more successful.
And wasn't that in one of those videos talking about 3 of the biggest 4 things that have come out, the iPhone? It was from a brainstorming
Yeah.
giving the person time to just think. I mean, those kind of things make such a huge difference.
Or like you were saying, if they don't want to do classes on their own time, maybe give them an hour a week to earn a certificate or something during work hours.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Invest in the employees, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you invest in the employees, you're going to get much more better return.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Makes sense. So I definitely don't have much. I don't have a bunch as much experience in how to actually incentivize employees because I don't know. I haven't worked all that much in my experiences, and so I say the only thing I've ever seen, and I will say I don't think where I was working was particularly great at the incentivizing people and employees. The only thing we had was every semester you worked, you were supposed to get like a 5 cent raise, and that was it. And I think I don't know. I liked it because I liked the job, and I was going to take more money. I was going to stay anyways. I wasn't staying because I was getting a pay raise every semester. I don't think I ever noticed a 5 cent pay raise every semester. That's not very much, but um, I stayed and did or tried to do a good job because I personally wanted to, not because there were any incentives of any kind. So I don't know if I've really ever experienced
But you had value in your job.
yeah, but I do think a lot of that was personal versus leadership giving reasons. They didn't push. I wasn't pushed for yeah, continue to expand your education or get a new certificate, stuff like that. And so I don't know. I wish I could add more and say that I think that is a good idea, and I do think it is a good idea. I don't know. I don't have much experience with it, but it does make sense. I think that is a good idea. I think helping people to better themselves is significantly more effective than saying we'll pay you more just because you did a good job.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my coworkers, I can tell you when I first started this job that I'm in now, they were not excited about the computer, not excited about Excel. It scared them. They were just like, I don't know anything. And I'm old. You know, they're above 60. I don't know that I could learn anything. And I was like, my mom was 84 when she retired, and she was in the library. She worked in the reference library, and nothing scared her. Computers didn't scare her. She would try anything to learn stuff. And so I started helping them. Here, I want you to do this little project and do it in Excel. And they would ask a couple questions and I'd let them do it. And then when they would finally get it and they wouldn't have to ask questions, I was like, see, I can do it. And then that gets them excited. They're like, what else can we learn? What's something else we can do? So I'll give them different things so that they can practice, because they love to learn. They realize that they're not dumb. They can learn stuff, you know, and that's kind of the personal thing, Alex, that I think you're going for, is you feel like you can do the job, you love the job, so you want to do it.
Yes, very much so.
Well, thank you for all of your thoughts and role playing. I think we are at time though, so we'll end the recording.
Okay. I'll go ahead and stop the recording. Or Geraldine, did you do it?
No, you did it.
Well, I asked